Looks like that's on. Hello, everybody. I'll get you right there. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back one more time to a talk. We still don't have a name for these, and I don't really need a name for these. But welcome back. I am Nicodemus Kane, and we are back to talk about the things that are going on in the universe right now. Weirdo things that are just happening in the world. Um, I don't know if you can hear it. You could probably hear it. I have my dehumidifier on right now, and I apologize for this. Extremely apologize for this. But it rained very, very hard last weekend, let's put it that way. And we had some flooding in the basement. This is my basement. This is my, maybe you wouldn't call it a man cave if you want, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But this is my basement. This is where I do all my playthroughs, and I do my thinking pretty much. It's where I exist for the most part, and it has a problem with flooding. We had an issue with it several years back when we first moved in, and I even said it on a couple of the playthrough videos I was doing back then that we had some flooding going on, and I had to completely pull everything out. And today I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to have to completely rip everything out that is in front of me. It's my TV and all my game stations, and my coffee table, whatever you want to call it, that's in front of me, and I need to pull my bookcases out, but I don't know if I can. But I said this time, whenever I pull it out, I might actually rearrange a room. I don't know. It depends on how it depends on how it goes, because I really don't want to spend a whole day rearranging this room. But I need to. I need to get back there to that carpet to see how it's doing. It's probably not doing so well. But anyways, you will probably hear this thing running. I may turn it off. It feels a little dry in here. It really does. It's better than it was. Let's put it that way. That's not what I came here to talk about. I just had to get that out. I don't know why. I have to apologize for the background noise. It is what it is. But today I had some things that I wanted to talk about on my mind. I really did. I didn't write anything down. I just kind of had some things on the back of my mind that I wanted to talk about. But I said, you know what? Let's backtrack a little bit. Let's go over why we're here, because there was a thing that happened on Facebook. I'll just straight up admit it. I post Facebook. I try my damnedest not to look through Facebook, because honestly, it's just a terrible thing. It's just it's a place for people to air their grievances, and it's it's kind of become this like roving pity party. I guess that's the best way you can describe it. It's just this constant look at me kind of mentality that the internet has created, and knowing that Facebook uses all of our posts and all of our pictures and everything else to do whatever the hell they want to with it, and then they sell all of our information off to the highest bidder, it makes you wonder why the hell we even use it to begin with. So I try not to use it, but since I have become aware of the world in all its forms, I have been using Facebook to just try to wake people up. Just try to put information out there, and hopefully it'll somebody somewhere will be able to use it and run with it. Um, a post I did the other day is I straight up just I said, if you want a warning from a watchman, being a watchman on the wall, I've considered myself a watchman on the wall for several years now. Now that I see how things work, I said, if you want a warning from a watchman on the wall, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's that, and it is all an evil of the world, and it is slowly closing in on us. And I said something about You know, it's a true evil, which we've been talking about. We've been trying to show that there is a true evil, whether you want to believe it or not. Um, there's still this underlying factor that is is closing in on us. It's coming around, and I said, just gonna look it up. I'm gonna just look it up. I said that I've said this before. It's literally in the air you breathe, and it's drowning you with evil. That's truth, plain and simple. It's been a lie to hide you. It's been a lie from the beginning to hide the fact that you are special. You're a wonderful creation of God. This is not what we are meant to be. It is time to pray for salvation and the full armor and protection of God so that we can stem off the evils of this world. It is all around us. Please open your eyes and see it. Now, that was the end of the thing. Of course, it was kind of long. And that was just what I was compelled to write. That was early morning. It was early morning, right before I took my shower. I actually was about 5 minutes late in my routine because I decided, oh, wow, my nose is starting to go a little crazy. I was just outside. There's a wow. Just outside, it's a very well. It's clouds without water yet again, and I'm sure the pollen counts are going crazy because there's no more bees. We know this. There's no more bees, so the pollen's going nuts. So the pollen is going to be making us sick. The crap they're spraying at us is making us sick. It is what it is. But it was right before my normal routine, right before I got in the shower, and I just wrote. I wrote what compelled me to write. Usually I try not to just put the information out there. Usually I'll just say, hey, did you know about this? Hey, did you know about that? I might put a passage out here or there. I might just say some things that might click to somebody. But this time I just said, you know what? I'm just going to tell it like I think it is. And that's what it is. And it kind of started a firestorm. Mostly between two friends. And I'm not going to name names and I'm not going to go into, too many details about them. I get where they're coming from. They're old friends. I know I know the kind of people that they are. They have their own sets of beliefs, and that's fine. I knew if anybody were to come into it, they would be the two that they would not be changing their minds anytime soon, and it is what it is. I'm not going to argue with it. The thing that got sparked off, though, was that it seemed like I was being preachy, which I might have been being preachy. I was just talking from the heart. That was what it was. That was the first time I really, really laid it down like that. I just put it out there and I said, there's evils in the world and we have to worry about this, and it's time to start praying about it. And sometimes it clicks with people. Sometimes it really does click with people. You just have to, you put it out there, and somebody that reads that says, you're right, there's something there. Maybe we should do it. And if it doesn't click with you, it won't click with you. I've lost more friends than I will ever know because I've started telling the truth. I've got maybe a couple hundred friends. There's a lot of guys that I know. There's a good close knit section of friends that I've kept over the years, maybe 30, 40 people that, they're still friends with me on Facebook, but I know they unfollowed me because I started speaking the truth and they didn't like hearing it. So they unfollowed me. I put stuff out all the time as feelers just to see if anybody's still listening, and people do still listen. You put out something about butterflies and, hummingbirds and pretty puppy dogs, and you'll get 15 people come out of the woodwork like the shit out of it. You put one thing about telling the truth of the world, and by God, nobody, nothing. So it was a tester. Oh, excuse me, a little burp there. it was a tester, and yeah, nobody's there. So I know that nobody's listening, and that's fine with me. I cannot. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it is what it is. You're not going to be able to get to everybody. That's one thing I've said in these videos over and over again. You're not going to get to everybody. But this kind of sparked a thing, and the biggest thing that it sparked was a friend of mine said that this wasn't about God. This was inside. It's inside of me. It was along the lines of, I'm so close to understanding the truth that it's all inside of me. It's not inside of a God that was. He didn't really say that it was a made up thing. It was an understanding that, God is just another system of control put out there by the system, and then and it got to this weird point to where I think it was more along the lines of, it's not evil. You can't call it evil. It's this physical reality. It's just man being man, or humans being humans. Let's put it that way. That makes a little more sense. And I get that. I understand that. I used to be there. I did. I used to be there. I used to be that guy. He knows that. He knows that. My other friend knew that. Angie B, my wife, she knows that. I knew that. I as soon as I read it, I said that's what I would have said. That's what I would have said 10 years ago. That's what I would have said 10 years ago. I said it's not inside of some book. It's inside of you. The truth is always inside of you. And I see now that that's not right. That's not right anymore. That's not the real way. That's not the real way of everything that's going on. We've talked about here in several different places that the evil is real. That there is something there. And I always preface that with, whether you want to believe it or not, you don't have to believe it. This is just what I see. I can't tell you what to believe. I can only tell you what I see and what I believe. And you can take that as you will, because I can't change your mind, and I don't. I'm trying to change your mind, but if I can't, I can't, because that's just the way it is. Actually, it's biblical. That's one thing I find it funny. I've said it several times. As I've gone through this journey, all the different little things that people say that reply back to me about stuff like this, because I've already gone through, like, I had this talk on Reddit with a couple different people, and I know I talked about it here too, where they said, oh, it's all made up. This whole religion thing is just made up. It's not real. It's inside of you, that you have to find your own, and it's the same thing that's going on now. And I said, that's fine. But what you're doing to change my mind to say this, it's in the Bible that it says you're going to change this on me. I mean, were these people actually thinking ahead that they would think that there would be people that would be trying to change your mind so much that they just went ahead and put it in a book? That way you would know that. And I'm like, no, seriously, that's in the book. It's biblical that first of all, that you're not going to listen to me. Second of all, you're going to come at me gnashing at teeth, which is what's happening, which is what's starting to happen. I mean, this wasn't like a, hey, maybe you're wrong. Hey, maybe this isn't the way to do it. Maybe, I have my belief here that maybe there's something here that you ought to look at, that's not right. And if it would have been approached to me that way, if somebody would have just said, hey, wait a minute, what if you're wrong? What if instead of this, it's that? But it didn't come like that. It came with the gnashing of teeth. It came with many exclamation points. It came from people that had wrote it in the emotion, in the spirit of where they were. Now, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not. These people are doing all right. You know, I truly truly wish that God will look in their hearts and help them and will figure out what He needs to do to help them come over to His side. If He doesn't, He doesn't, and for that I don't know what to say. But if He does, then I will feel good about it. But if they're not meant to come, they're not meant to come. I mean, it just is what it is. But it wasn't approached like, it wasn't approached like, oh hey, I heard this, and this is an option. It wasn't an option. It was a no, you're wrong. No, I don't like this. I don't like the fact that you're dealing in absolutes. I don't like the fact that you're talking about this way and this that way, and it sounds like you're being preachy to me, and you're looking at it the wrong way, and like I said, exclamation points, and it just seemed like it was written by somebody that was typing faster than they should have, and I'm not I'm not picking on my friends because the guys on Reddit were the same exact way. It was a fierceness. It was this it was this pushiness to it. It's what it was. It was this I don't know. I don't know how to describe. I mean, I know how to describe it. I know how to describe it because I was there because it was the same way I felt 10 years ago. If I would have saw somebody that was putting out something like that was a good friend of mine, that it looked like they were turning and I didn't understand it, and it seemed like they were getting a little into it, I might have come at it at a crazy way like that. And that's made me stop and reflect. Not not so much on what my thoughts are on it, but it makes me reflect on it makes me reflect on where to go from here. Um, I get the problem people face now with it. Um, I mean, I've always felt isolation. I've always felt isolated. I've always been the oddball one. In the family that in my family that used to be good, used to be good and Christian and wholesome, and used to get together and be nice to each other and all that. In a family that used to be that way, I used to be the one that used to rebel against all that. I used to be the one that says, "No, we're all individuals. This is just the way of the world." And that was just the way I was taught. It's the way I was taught. I really was. I learned that from movies. I learned that from TV. I learned that from other people. It's about us. It's not about anything bigger than us. We're just here on infinite this infinite universe, and there's nothing better than what we are. Nothing created us. We just happen and all that stuff. We've talked about this, and I used to be that. And I surrounded myself with friends like that. I really did. All my friends are like that. And we I used to we used to go shout at street preachers. I memorized passages from the Bible to be able to cut down Christians when they started getting stupid. I railed against that stuff, and it led me onto these paths that, even though, and I've been thinking a lot about this too, about how good my life was. It was flowing in this direction. I had this polyamorous relationship, and I was able to go and have sex with women, and we were drinking and we were doing drugs, and we were doing all these things, it was not fulfilling me. There was always something that just it was keeping me from truly being happy, and that's honest. That's the truth. It was something always there that just I always thought in the back of my head, this isn't enough. This isn't enough. And I look back on this and I realized that there was a point where where I started really looking at myself, and I started saying there's got to be something better. So I didn't want to go full Christianity. I went like this Buddhist Hindu type of religion, of way of thinking, which honestly is about as close to Christianity as you can get without believing in Jesus. Because there's this kind of loving peacefulness about it. And I look back on that and I think, yeah, that's where I was going. I was heading that way. And because it just that whole lifestyle just wasn't doing it for me. It just wasn't, I mean, I was like I said, we just it was this never-ending stream of, hey, let's get drunk and go screw and do this and do that, and we'll go out to all the bars and we'll just be as promiscuous as possible, and this will just, I mean, we this was before I broke up with my girlfriend and just went on a drunken bender for 2 years. At the time, this was before I broke up with her. Because I was still thinking that way. But I get that I was searching for something. I really do get that I was searching for something. I look back on it now and I'm like, yeah, I really was. I never would have thought about that. I never would have thought about myself doing that so that I could just get out of that hole. And I think that's what it was. I was getting out of that hole that we were going into. I mean, I got stories. I got stories. We're not going to go into all the stories. I got stories. One of the reasons that I wound up leaving that whole system was that, I was becoming better, and the woman that I was dating at the time, she was just getting worse. That's just the way it was. That I was trying to pull out of that hole of drinking and drugs and screwing everything on two legs. I was trying to find something, and she just kept going into it. So I forgive her for that. I truly do. I forgive her for that. If she were to knock on the door, I'd be like, "Look, I'm so sorry that I even. I'm sorry first for saying that what we were doing was right, and I'm sorry secondly for even trying to be a father to your children whenever we were right in the middle of that. That was not the right way to do any of that. So it is what it is." But I see where the rage comes from. I see where that understanding that they have comes, and then maybe it's not translating well over the internet. You know how the internet works. I mean, you put an exclamation point on the end of a sentence on the internet, and it could mean a million things. It really could. It could be that they were gnashing at teeth, and it could be that they were, just trying to get a point across. But it it was a definite pushback, absolutely definite pushback of a newfound, what do you want to call it? It was a definite pushback of a newfound mentality that I have. It was definitely something there past the, I just want to express my opinion. That's what it was. And it kind of hurts because, I mean, the biggest thing about it is I'm not going to be able to change their minds. These are good people. These are good people. The one friend was somebody I've known for years, 20 24 years. Next year it'll be 25 years I've known them. The other one I've known for about 15 years, give or take. And they're good people. They're good friends. I love talking to them. I don't. I consider them wise. I consider them to have a fair amount of wisdom. I appreciate being able to listen to their opinion. I really do. But again, this was driven by something underneath, and I see that now. I think that's the whole point of this is that back back in the day I would have seen it as it's it's a little rough. You could tone it down a little bit, but I get what you're talking about. We could go from there, but now I just see it as, man, there's some kind of something behind that. I don't know, and that's just my new thinking. That's just the way it is now, and that's nothing bad on me. That's just the change. That's the change. That's the spiritual change that I think happens. That the true thing that happens is it changes, it cleanses you out completely, and you can see not only the things that happen, the lies that we talk about all the time that are in the world. Not only can you see it, you can see the reasoning behind it. And the difference between what I said and what they said is that the reasoning behind it comes from other men, that other people have done these things. The reasoning that I see it is that these are spirits, these are demons, these are evils, these are something that we can't see, we cannot understand, that are real things. There are real things. They manifest in people all the time. You have so many eyewitnesses. You have so many people that say that they talk to these things. These things have been exorcised from people. They exist. You have have we talked about Aleister Crowley? Have we talked about Aleister Crowley going out into the middle of the New Mexico desert? Um, Somebody had said it was less than 5 miles away from where they decided to make Area 51. Have we talked about that yet? Have we talked about the rituals that he did out there and meeting his demonic friend? I'm getting a little bit of a chill right now. In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, whatever's in this room with me, please go away. No, I demand that you go away. Whatever's in this room, leave. Whatever spirits are around me, leave. I will not deal with this. It does it though, man. Man, when you start talking about it and you just feel something, and it's been just this. I'm not gonna say it's been like an overwhelming presence, but there's just been a thing. It's just. I had a bit of a fallback on a sin last week, and you felt the house get darker. You did, and I'm like, no, we can't do that anymore. We gotta fix this. So I've been having to cleanse it out again. Been having to cleanse myself out again, and it's trying to fix it, trying to get it better. But anyways, yeah, Aleister Crowley is sitting out there having these rituals and all this other kind of sex magic nonsense, and he what was it? He met. I can't remember the guy's name. I don't want to say it was Locke. It was something else. Tool. I don't really remember. It was a one name. It was a one name or one syllable name. I don't know what the hell it was, and it materialized and it talked to him. He's sitting there talking to this thing, and it was the personification. Well, not personification. It was like the image of what we would consider to be an alien gray. And he's sitting there talking to it, and this thing is telling him about, basically tells him the Satanic Bible, and he goes out and writes the Satanic. Well, not the Satanic Bible. That was Anton LaVey. He gives him the teachings of whatever the hell Crowley did. I don't know what the hell it is now. I'm not thinking about it. But yeah, Anton LaVey wrote the Satanic Bible. But anyways, he's sitting there going through all, and he's saying that this thing is giving him the knowledge of all this stuff, and yada yada yada, and I just watched a video from a rather lengthy video. Thankfully, he broke it up into like 5 pieces from Rob Skiba, where he went out to the. It wasn't an alien conference. It was like some kind of spiritual entity conference, or some kind of otherworldly entity. I don't know what it was, and he was talking about that there are so many people now that are having these experiences with these beings, these alien greys, and he was going on about these not only these experiences that they're having with them, but he was talking about the autistic children that are that say that they have friends that they talk to, and these personifications of these friends, or these images of these friends that they have, are very similar to these alien greys. And I'm dumb on some things, but I'm smart enough to know that whenever you put 2 plus 2 together, and if one of the most satanic men in the world is out in the middle of the desert and has an experience with something that he conjured up out of the nether that looks like an alien gray, and if you've got little kids that are autistic because of vaccines, that have friends that are very similar to the images of alien greys, I can put two and two together. I can really do that, and that's. It makes me think of. Hold on a second. I hate whenever my nose starts running whenever I'm recording. It makes me think back to high school, and I don't know if I've talked about any of this either. That we used to write these short stories, these plays. We called them plays. They were more like scripts. My friend made, he started as a play because it was a radio show thing. If you write a play, you could win something. It was for Halloween, is what it was. And he didn't finish it, handed it off to me, and I took it and I ran with it. And we used to have fun with it. It was a big silly romp. It was one of those kinds of things. But one of the underlying themes that were in it were that there were these aliens that were causing havoc on this group of kids. The group of kids was us. We just changed the names. It was what it was. We were able to write it from our perspectives because it was from us, and there was like 4 or 5 of us that would, contribute to this thing and make it what it was. But one of the things that I did with it was that I said, aliens aren't from outer space; they're from inner space. They've been on the planets, all this time, and they come out and they do stuff, and yada yada yada, and it has blown me away that it took me a long time to get to the point to where we could have the internet, and where the internet pretty much confirmed what I was writing. It was just weird. It was like, wait, there's other people that believe that these beings don't just come from outer space, that they come from inside the Earth. Because that seems to be a thing now, is that these beings are interdimensional, and that they're on the Earth. They can't come from outer space, and I'm just like, what? What the hell, And it's to bring it all back around. It's kind of it's made me understand that yes, there can be these spiritual beings that we can't see, we can't touch, we can't feel, we can't do anything with, but they can affect us. They can affect us in ways that we don't know. I've seen enough video evidence of enough people, and I know I've talked about this before. Uh, I've seen enough video evidence of people that will just straight up come up to some street preacher, and there's something going on with that person. There's some kind of something going on with that person, and everybody, I've heard people say, "Oh, well, that's just all fake. That's just all fake," and I would have said that's all fake too. Um, at one point in time, I would have said that's all fake, but there are a couple of them that don't make sense. When you the one I know of, it's a black street preacher, and this guy just comes up and he just starts talking, just right in the guy's face, right there, right in the guy's face, and just starts going off about how he knew, how he knew his family. He knew his family from before he was born, and that you know you cannot mess with the God of this world, and doing this and doing that. I mean, it sounds like it's made up. It just sounds like it's just some guy, they're just kind of putting this together. It's a Looney Tune kind of thing, and they're just kind of throwing it together. But it's in his eyes. It's eyes. The man doesn't blink for the whole thing. He doesn't blink. His eyes are wide open, and there's just something to him. It's freaky. And then you watch another one, and it's the same thing. Now there are some that just look ridiculous. There's a couple of them out there where you can just see that it's something that somebody may have made up. It's just goofy stuff. The one where the guy pulls a knife in a church and then immediately everybody goes around and starts praying for him. I get that. I've heard that those are things. I've heard that those stories are real, that somebody does that, but nobody panicked. Nobody panicked at all. They just walked right over to him and they just started praying and he falls on the ground. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not. Okay, it's possible. I get it. Am I still recording? I'm still recording. That was a flash. I may lose video. I don't know. That was weird. That was very weird. We usually don't have power problems like that unless there's a big storm coming up. I'll check the weather while I'm doing this. But it was. I've seen several of those now, where it's usually these guys that come up to street preachers and they've got glazed looks. I mean, they are just straight up. They are just straight up eyes wide open. The eyes are wide open, and they're talking. They're almost gurgling as they talk, and they are just spouting off the craziest nonsense you could possibly think of. And you would look at that and you would say, "There's something there." There's I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. It's crazy. That's like the upper end of it. Now the lower end of it is what I would consider this. What's happened with the people that I've met on the internet. I'm not going to say my friends are part of it. Maybe it is. Maybe there's some kind of spirit driving them. I don't know. I don't want to say either way. I don't know. One of the things that my friend said is he doesn't like to deal in absolutes, and I agree with that. I don't like to deal in absolutes either. I did for that, though. And I will admit that I did, because that was just me putting it out there, because I was tired of tiptoeing around the subject. I was tired of it. I just wanted to say, look, this is what it is. This is the kind of demented nonsense that's happening. And what's the interesting thing too is that I wrote a lot of stuff in that post. I didn't just write, there is evil in the world and we should go pray to God. No, I wrote a lot of stuff, and nobody talked about anything I wrote. I went from 9/11 to them trying to kill us to killing children to adrenochrome to I don't even remember what the rest of it was. I wrote a lot of stuff in that post, and not one single person called me out on any of it. They didn't look at any of this. They just looked at what I said about God. That's just proof. I just call that proof. That's all I want to me personally, you don't have to believe it again. You don't have to believe anything I say, but to me, that's proof. That's proof that there's something there. That I mean, I get that too. I get that because I would have been the same way. If we were talking 10 years ago, I would have been the same way. I would have been like, oh man, here we go again with the God stuff. I get it. I get it, guys. I get it. I absolutely get it. I don't think that I don't get it. I absolutely understand. It's been a change of life. It's been a change of reason. It's been a change of soul. It's been a change of heart. It's been a change of heart. You can go ask Angie B. I will pull her into one of these videos one of these days, and I will ask her to tell you how it's changed. And you know what? If it's changed because of me, or if it's changed because of God, why are you railing against it? Why are you gnashing your teeth against it? Now, if I would have come to this conclusion on my own, which I've said several years over, well, I've changed. I've become a better person because of the way that I feel and the person that I am, and that I can take control of my destiny and all that. And since we're just here to be here and there's nothing else there, let's go have some fun. That's what I did. And I wasn't fulfilled by it. It's about being fulfilled. Are you fulfilled by feeling that it's all inside of you? That everything that you go through, all of this physical reality that it is, are you fulfilled by that? If you are, that's on you. Hey, I'm not I'm not going to take that away from you. I'm going to tell you that I found a better way. I personally found a better way. And it wasn't inside of me. It wasn't something inside of me. It's been outside of me this whole time. And because it was outside of me, and I decided to let that thing that was outside of me in, that thing has changed me. Physically, mentally, spiritually, I have become a different person because of it. And I think that's the point that is not getting across. Is that if if that has changed me, and if it's changed me for the better, way, way better. If it's changed me for that much of the better, and it's not like I'm a completely different person now. It's not like I'm going to go out into the street and start preaching. That's not me. That's not what I was called to do. This for some reason, this is what I feel compelled to do, is to make these videos. Maybe one of these days somebody will catch on to these and it will help change them. And if I change one person, then I've done something good. I'm trying. God, I'm trying. I'm trying. But if it's, and this was also a conversation I had with the Reddit guy too. I said, if this is something inside of me, if I've changed myself for the better by believing in God and believing in a book, if I've personally changed myself better for believing in a book, then why are you trying to rail against me about that? You get it? You get how that works? I mean, if it's always been inside of me, and if something inside of me has finally clicked to the point where I've said, you know what, this is how I should live now. There's a better way. If that's the way it works, why are you trying to take that away from me? You understand? If if I suddenly came out and said, "Hey, I realized what's been wrong with me all this time, that I'm just not a good person, that I just need to change. I need to do it better. I need to do all this, do all that, you know, to change my mentality about things, to become a better person, to uh, accept, that I need to forgive other people, that I need to just, you know, I just need to be better. I need to be a better person. If I did all that, and if I came out and said, look, I decided to do this by myself, people wouldn't have a problem. There would be no problem with it whatsoever. I would get congratulations and I would get pats on the back, and I'd say, man, everybody would say, man, see, good job. You did good. You did great. You did just fine. I didn't do that. I found that through the power of the word of Yahuwah, of Yeshua. I found that through God. I found that through the Bible. I found that through the word. And because of that, I'm getting kickback. That, to me, is proof that I'm on the right track. I have always said if anybody's rallying against anything, maybe we should look at that thing to see what they're rallying against. See what I'm saying? It blows my mind. And again, it could be because of the friends I've surrounded myself with. It could be the places where I've gone to, the situations I put myself into, that, I'm just asking for it by putting myself out there. But I've been there. I've been there, done it. Been there, done it. I know how this works. This is not my first rodeo, guys. I I used to be that guy that used to rail against this. I understand the mentality. What I don't understand now, though, is that I understand it. I can't say I don't understand it because I do understand. I absolutely see where it's coming from. I think more than anything else, it just blows my mind. Let's put it that way. It just blows my mind that this is even a thing at this point. That people are doing this against me because of this. Because I chose, instead of saying that it was me, because it wasn't just me, that if I were to say, it was just me, that people would be fine with it. But because I'm saying that it's not me, that it's because of a higher power that I do believe in now, that has worked for me, I'm getting kickback. You get it? Mind boggling. So that's where I am. That's where I am right now, and I just had to take a step back and look at it. I really did, because it's just kind of a. I've had to take a step back anyway. So this whole week, I've just been like, look, I need to take a step back from all of this. I still have my, I can sit there and listen to the Bible. I can meditate on it. I pulled away from conspiracy videos. I've been actually listening to I've been listening to video game playthroughs that don't have commentary on them, and it's a good way to meditate. It really is. It's just I sit there and I just think. I just let stuff think. I don't. I don't know, man. I don't know. So if any of my friends are watching this that just don't understand, you got to know this is the new way, and I will be more than happy to sit down with you and talk about it. I am not opposed to that. You're not going to be able to change my mind because again, if it's coming out of me, if you think this is coming out of me, then why are you worried about it? If it's changing me for the better, why are you worried about it? You get it? If it's changing me for the better, why are you worried about it? It sounds like you're trying to save me from It sounds like you're trying to save me from the worst thing in the world, and you know what? It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not changing me into being something terrible. I'm not like all those other whack jobs that tell everybody that if you do this, you're going to go to hell. I'm not telling people that. I don't know. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I can tell you what's in the book, and I can tell you I'm not going to do them because that's for me. I can tell you if you do them, then read the book. It'll tell you. God has to talk to you. He can't talk to me. You can't. From the way I see it, you can have teachers that can teach you the words in the book to be better, but you can't have somebody to tell you where your salvation is going to come from. That's that's the biggest fact of the book that I think people miss out on is that it's not there. It's there to. Here I am making signs again. It's there to explain to you how to find your own salvation, but it's not there to make somebody use it to tell you where your salvation is coming from. You can teach the book. You can teach the book. If somebody doesn't understand it, you can give your opinion of the teaching of the book. You can tell somebody when somebody asks. Let's just, for instance, the easiest instance I can say when somebody asks, "There were giants in the days. What does that mean?" And you can teach them. You can say, "Well, there were giants in those days. There were beings that were tall, were very, very tall. There was a genetic manipulation that created these beings in the world. And because we can see that there were giants in the real world, this book knew what it was talking about. That's teaching. That's not changing your salvation. That's just teaching you that, that's what that means. Same way with the preaching. When Jesus was teaching that the one that the one that I've been going back to a lot because I've been trying to figure out about the food laws and all that. When Jesus was talking to the Pharisees about they were getting on to him about eating food with unclean hands, and somebody asked, "What does that mean?" And you can teach them. You can teach them and say, he was telling them that it's okay to eat with unclean hands because the Pharisees had a law that they had made up past the law of Yahuwah that said that they had to wash their hands. That's what they made up. He was saying that no, your laws mean nothing. The true law is what you should be following. That's a teaching. Is that going to save you? No. It's not going to save you. That's just a teaching of how to read the book. That's what you're supposed to do. You have preachers out there that are straight up telling people you're going to go to hell if you don't do this. No, I can tell you, the book says you're going to go to hell if you do this. But I don't know what's going to happen because only God can make that judgment. I can't make that judgment. I can tell you what it says because I can teach you what it says. But as far as your salvation is concerned, you have to find that for yourself because I can't help you with that. I can show you the door, but you're the one that has to walk through it. You get it? You get it? I feel better about saying it. That's the whole point of I started doing these things is just to get it out, just to open up about it, get it out of my head, and man, these just doing these have helped me so much. Some of them, yes, I've left worse than I had done, but I hope it worked for somebody. I hope it helped somebody somewhere. I really do. I truly do. Uh, the biggest thing is just seeing it for what it is, just discovering the truth. Once you discover the truth, then you cannot be manipulated by that truth. Or no, wait, sorry, Rewind that. Once you see the lie, once you see the truth of the lie, you cannot be manipulated by the lie. There you go. That was bad. That's what it is, though. Once you see it and understand it, then you can't be manipulated by it. I'm gonna have to stop. My nose is getting really stopped up. It's stopped up to the point that I can't even breathe into it. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. If you even watched it, thank you. If not, then hey, whatever. I appreciate it if you did. God bless you guys. Seriously, it's like I said. I can't be your salvation. I can tell you what I've seen. I can tell you what I understand. You have to take it wherever you take it from there. And it is what it is. You don't have to believe me if you don't want to, because it's not for everybody to believe. It's in the Bible. It says that not everybody's going to believe it, and I don't know what to say about that. All right. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, or don't. It doesn't matter. And I wish you all well in all your future endeavors, and I hope that the world lasts for you guys. God bless. Seriously, God bless. Take care. Crack open your Bible. Go read it. It's not the worst thing in the world. It really isn't. It's a really, really great story. Once you ask God to show you what it means, it's a really, really great story. But other than that, I shall see you guys later.